welcome back to the Gotham Database Podcast. I am your host, Vince. Hopefully you're doing well today. Well, as you see, I put up a post the other day explaining about how I'm adding the G.I. Joe cartoon into the DC universe, my kind of crossover thing. I had released a write-up right after it about the Cobra Soldiers, and then today, Cobra Elite Soldiers, kind of like the sergeants above the actual little troopers. They were the ones that always commanded them around. Anyway, Gotham-database.com is the website, and you can go there or just hit me up on X at Gotham Database. Anyway, so these write-ups were pretty interesting when we did them, because when I originally wrote them up, I wrote them up to play them in kind of like with a bunch of people just to goof around. And one of the things that we did was, while the write-up didn't really accommodate this, but we decided that since it was like the cartoon, that, no matter what they did, it was going to be kind of a miss type situation. So anytime they shot anything with weaponry, it was basically a 50-50 chance of hitting something, because, they always missed in cartoons and they always blew up things and people would jump out. So we kind of did a couple adventures that way when we were playing Cobra Soldiers, and it was just kind of a goofy thing that we did spontaneously, and something that we really enjoyed. Now, them being in the DC universe, they could be put under Cobra, so to speak, with a K, because his organization is full of people just like this, and it's kind of interesting how the organizations go side by side as far as how they work, and both want world domination. Cobra wants one way, and Cobra with a K wants it in the same way. So, and they basically are both using a strong leader type with a good charisma to convince these people to follow them into this worthless battle. So, so the Cobra Soldiers are basically all twos in all their abilities, because they're just average people that have been brainwashed. We gave them weaponry and we gave them vehicle skills. Their advantages were basically connection to Cobra, and that was high. They had loyalty to Cobra regardless, because they were just always loyal. Now, we gave them the traditional rifles, the laser rifles, and the body of 3, EV of 3, and then they have a knife, body of 1, EV 2. Their wealth is 1 because they basically have no wealth. Cobra provides everything to them, including room and board and health insurance. If you watch that one episode of G.I. Joe, the cartoon, when they mistakenly jumped into an old Cobra base, and they found out that Cobra had their own health insurance and it was better than the G.I. Joe health insurance. So, I mean, health insurance was a big thing back in the 80s. Still is now these days, but it was even bigger back then. So the little running joke of how it was better that Cobra gave this great health insurance. So it's kind of funny. So their background is basically recruited into Cobra from various backgrounds, promise of power and sense of belonging. Serves as a foot soldier and easily replaceable member of Cobra organization. So they're not really, they're kind of just like fodder, people that guard things, and then yada yada yada. Today we had the Cobra Soldier Elite. It's my computer as I'm looking at these things. Now, this one was a little bit more written up, because the Elite Soldiers are a little bit more, they're like the ones in charge of people's units, and so I gave them Dex 5, Strength 4, Body 4, Intelligence 3, Will 3, Mind 3, Influence 3, Aura 3, and Spirit 4. Their initiative came out to, what the heck did I do? 11. 12. And they have Martial Arts 4, Weaponry 5. Vehicles 4, Military Science 3. The only really advantages they have were connection to Cobra High. So, and the reason they have a connection to Cobra High is because they're in more of a command position than anything else. So we didn't really give them much to work with. I mean, they don't really need anything. And I gave them Iron Nerves because they have more. They have a better ability to stand around and not be frightened and run away, because they're more of a, elite soldier, so to speak. And the only thing that I couldn't find a good picture online of them, but the only thing that distinguishes them from the regular Cobra Soldier is they have a silver Cobra symbol on their chest, and they have the straps, but the straps are full of like grenades and stuff like that. And that's the real difference between the regular Cobra Soldiers and the elite soldiers, is that little minute ability that they have. I might need to change on there. So I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's fun to write these things up and play them if you want to play them. They're here if you want to. I mean, there's a whole website dedicated to GI Joe and Transformers from Marvel Phase Rip. So why not do it for DC? This is my universe. I can do whatever I want. I'm only using the Batman rules, to be honest. So, well, today's been a short thing. Just wanted to explain my two write-ups that I have written down here for you to peruse and look at. In the future, we're going to be digging more into some of the Cobras, so to speak. Once we get up on the chain, going all the way up to the big guy, Cobra Commander and Serpentor. That one was a difficult one to write up because of all the different abilities that he had, and because he was also part of like different pieces of history of historical people, and they stole all the parts from him. It was interesting episode, interesting concept they did for the cartoon to create the ultimate Cobra Emperor, that they wound up having a whole civil war that split Cobra into two pieces, and then the cartoon brought what did they bring back? They brought back Cobra Commander eventually, just like the comic book did, back into power. So, the Cobra Emperor became kind of like dumb in the comics. And they wound up, I think the latest comic book issues for G.I. Joe, now that this new company took them over, and they were continuing Real American Hero right where an Image left it off. Wasn't Image, sorry. IDW left it off. That they're like these zombie creature things on an island. It's kind of weird. I stopped reading it because it wasn't interesting. But we'll see what happens in the future. Tell me what you think in the comments on the blog, gotham-database.com. And we'll talk next time. Take care, folks. Good night.